Hi, I'm Robert Goetzl. We're celebrating Earth Day here at the Martin Museum, surrounded by these, well, I can say beautiful guitars without sounding like I'm an egotistical man, but I think this company does such a great job representing what they stand for as far as sustainability. And these guitars will be in this new exhibit celebrating Earth Day, sustainability at Martin Guitar. And I've been involved in the museum in some of these display cases for, oh my gosh, I guess about 10 years or more, revamping and designing some special exhibits. And this is another one, the sustainability of Martin Guitar. It's been a long road designing this particular exhibit. It's going to feature these wonderful guitars. And if you notice, what I find really intriguing about this is that these beautiful sustainable wood guitars are also different models. We have a double O, we have an OM, and we have this slope-shouldered dreadnought. So each one that's going to come out, I think, every year on Earth Day will be presented in a different way each time. The interesting thing about this exhibit that we're going to be doing, which will showcase many of these sustainable Martin guitars, as well as some of the environmental initiatives that the company does. I know we do some wood pellets, we recycle strings, among many other things within the factory, is trying to create an environment where people will come into this particular section of the museum and to get their attention, to draw them in somehow so that they read about what this company has been doing for years and years and years. I think not just under Chris's watch, but goes back even beyond that. His grandfather, his great-grandfather. I've designed this display case to have this very interesting tree, dimensional 7-foot tree, in this sort of mosaic design, not with tiles, but individual paint colors that sort of show, in my mind as an artist, the energy of a tree and the way it just kind of swirls with color, bringing your eye to this display case with this interesting fruit hanging on it, if you will. It will hold guitars. Guitars will hang on it, the sustainable guitars. And it is a way that I want to get you to come and look and explore all the ways that Martin is involved in sustainable aspects and their care for the world, and how they have programs which I believe are planting small trees to start forestry or replace the ones that are being utilized for tone woods. So I invite everybody who's tuned in to come to the Martin Museum in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, and to come not just see the beautiful guitars that are on display, but to read about these wonderful environmental initiatives that the company is part of and encouraging. And we would encourage you to take care of the earth on Earth Day and all days, because every day is Earth Day.
Here we are in the museum again to celebrate Earth Day.
Yes.
So Earth Day started, what, 1970?
Mm-hmm.
And what's that famous story that Alfred tells, right?
Well, I tell it because it was to me, and it still is. It resonates in my life. I will not litter today. Because there was a farm environment that your grandfather had.
Yeah.
We had an enclave. It was like the Kennedy compound, right? The Sims enclave, and all the cousins were there, and you were old enough to have a license.
I was the first driver, yeah.
Yes, so you'd haul us all around.
Right, go to Stroudsburg, we'd go to Hershey Park, Bushkill Park, of course, the company picnics. And Alfred...
Are you going to name names here?
Yeah, I am. My cousin Alfred was smoking. Well, first of all, that was an issue of mine. It's like, Alfred, you're not even an adult yet, so why are you smoking? So we're going somewhere, and...
It was nighttime.
Was
Coming
it?
half.
Okay.
Yes.
We're coming back from somewhere then.
Yes.
Maybe Bushkill Park or something. And Alfred, absent-mindedly opens up a pack of cigarettes and throws some garbage out the window.
Yes, he does.
And I'm like, no, that's not good.
That car stopped abruptly. We knew we were in trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and Robert, remember the Poconos back then were not as developed as they are today. So it was pristine.
Yes.
And it's like, don't you want to keep it this way?
That's right.
Don't you want to keep Mother Nature like unadorned with our garbage?
Yes, exactly.
So, my interest, and I know your interest in being good shepherds of this precious earth of ours certainly goes back to that, time in our lives where we're forming ideas about who we can be and what we can do to make the earth a better place.
Right. It just didn't start because it's the new in thing. It started way back with you.
And before that, there were you think of the hippies who were like, no, wait a minute, isn't there another way to approach commerce and business? And out of that, what came the organic food movement? Some really important things. And so these guitars are our way of just reminding people
Yes.
that pay attention, do the right thing.
Right. Right. And lesson learned, and I'm truthful when I say this, I'm holding still to that taking care of the earth attitude, because you stopped the car and made us go pick up.
Yeah.
If we couldn't find it, we had to pick up something.
Something, because there's always garbage there.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Right. And Diane would do that when she was working. She would take the kids that ended up in her office. Diane, being a local district justice, would get kids in, and she would gather them together on a Saturday, and they would all put on the orange vests, and they would adopt a section of a highway and clean up the garbage. It was kind of like community service. Like, okay, Robert, I don't want to see you back in my office again. Right. And by the way, this Saturday, you're going to meet some of your fellow friends that you know from high school, and we're all going to go pick up some garbage on Route 378.
Right. That's right. So that lesson stayed with me.
Yeah.
And, as I look at these guitars, I'm pretty impressed by the colors.
By your own work.
Yeah. Well, not always, but they look really good as a group.
Yeah, yep.
And it takes a little bit of time to remove myself from the artwork.
Yep.
So seeing it for the first time in a number of months or years, it looks better to me than
So that was the first one,
Right.
kind of the view of Earth from outer space.
Yes.
And then you took a deep dive, including the divers there.
Well, and this turned out to be fairly significant for you. But, this one in its own right is significant because it propelled us to do something every year.
Yep.
Or tried to do something every year. And thankfully, you backed this guitar. I had done these sketches and was kind of pushing it through, as I normally do. But without you saying, yeah, let's move on it.
Yep.
I don't.
And you never know, are people actually going to buy a guitar with that image on it? But we got enough traction that it's worth doing annually. Just to celebrate that, hey, at least once a year, we can all really take stock of our position as shepherds of this precious planet.
And it's not a novelty guitar. It's certified wood, right?
Yep.
No plastic, even the gig bag.
Yeah.
So it makes a statement as well that we can make guitars responsibly with good, sustainable wood.
And my favorite story about that one was we're at the NAMM show, and you're talking to this couple.
Yep. From Palau.
And they're dive instructors, and they go, Robert, did you make this just for us?
And then I got an invite to go, but I haven't.
Wow, cool. You didn't invite me.
I didn't go yet.
Oh, all right.
So then the third one came about because you met somebody.
But you had this idea, I think before that one.
I'm always making
You had
ideas.
done a sketch of whales.
Yes.
And I didn't know enough.
I send you these ideas once in a while.
I didn't know enough about whales to say yes or no. I know that there's a lot of interest in whales, so I did a little research. And I didn't realize this, but back in the mid-1800s, whaling, using the whales as a commodity, was the 5th largest industry in America. So it was you think about the whale or the buffalo or the elephant, that there was this exploitive period.
Correct.
When we as humans assume that it's a unlimited resource.
Right.
Until we find out it's limited.
Yes. Right. And so just tell me a little bit about the person that you met, Rachel Cartwright.
I wanted you to do this, but I needed more comfort.
Right.
In, why are we doing this and how can we connect it to people that are closer to caring about the whales?
Right.
So Diane and I love to cruise. We would take Claire with us. Claire doesn't remember some of the early cruises when she was little, and we've cruised all over the world. So we finally got to go to Alaska. And it was the last cruise that Diane and Claire and I took together. And often on the cruise, you get so excited by the experience, and they're like, well, by the way, if you sign up to come back next year, you get the best price.
Right.
So of course we're like, yeah, let's go. So we sign up, and then COVID comes, and we can't go. And Mary, my assistant, said, you know, you have a credit that you really need to use with Cunard because it has an end date. So I talked to Claire. I said, Claire, I know Mom won't be with us, but let's go back to Alaska. She goes, Dad, I'm too old for the kids club. And that's where I would make friends because Claire is an only child. I said, yeah, you're right. She said, Dad, I'm just not going with you. I said, fine, bring a friend. So she asked Gia to go, and they have their room, I have my room. What I would do in the morning on the cruise is I would look for a lecture. And on the Cunard ships, they bring in people that can talk about where the ship is. Right. When you go on a long cruise, which we've done, people would come on for a segment.
I see.
But in Alaska, they had people who, you know, they just went for that cruise. Maybe they would take a week off and then come back. So Rachel Cartwright gives a talk about whales. I'm like, oh, now I know a little bit more about whales. And she had a table set up in the Lido area with charts, and then you could mark if you saw a whale or whatever, you could mark it. And she had all these books, and she said, I have office hours. Right. So I went up and I started to talk to her, and I said, you know, I have my cousin has done some art guitars, and I showed her the original rendering that you had done before that one.
Yep.
And she says, wow, that's really nice. And so now I felt more comfortable.
Right.
Hey, I found someone, and I even said to her, I said, would you accept a donation from Martin if, in fact, we pursue this opportunity to remind people about the plight of the whale? And she said, that would be very helpful. She said, we're a small charity.
Yep.
She said, we're based in Maui. And she said, the reason I come to Alaska is because that's where the whales go in the summer. Right. She said, in the winter, not every, often they go over to Siberia, but enough of them go between Maui and the Hawaiian Islands and, that intercoastal area of Alaska to breed. And then, we asked Cindy to contact her just to verify, hey, you're a 501c3. And so we made a donation. She's thrilled. The guitar came out really cool.
Yes. So. And it's specifically what she does, right? I mean, these are birthing zones in Maui. Yep. So that the whales give birth, and then they raise their young for, I think, like 6 weeks, and then they're ready to go. Yeah. So.
And I think she has a video on YouTube of when you read the description, it's like, this may be the first video of a live whale birth on YouTube. So yeah, and that shows continuity, that hey,
absolutely,
it's, mother and child.
Well, and what I love working with you is because I'm reading the paper on a Saturday morning, and you're sending me texts from Alaska saying you have this artwork somewhere, right? I'm like, yeah, we could do that. But yeah, it turned out beautiful. I'm always thankful for your support with projects like this.
Well, this is a fun one because it's different. It's not in the normal course of business that we would ever contemplate doing this without being able to say we're doing it in honor of Earth Day. And let's remember, every day is Earth Day.